You know that feeling, right? Staring at a blank PowerPoint, knowing you've got hours of just tedious formatting ahead of you. Well, that whole routine is changing, and it's changing fast. Today, we're going to dive into the world of AI slide makers and see how they're becoming more than just tools. They're turning into real strategic partners. It's not just about working faster, it's about helping us tell better stories. Man, this quote from NextDocs just hits the nail on the head. Building a great presentation has always felt like this impossible choice between your time and your money. And it doesn't matter if you're a founder, a student, or a manager, we've all felt that pain. So traditionally, you had two pretty bad options. You could spend days, maybe even a week, fighting with text boxes and alignment all by yourself, or you could shell out a small fortune for a design agency. But now, there's a third path. AI is giving us a way to get both speed and quality, because it automates all that grunt work, letting you focus on what actually matters, the story. So here's our roadmap. We're going to start with the problem these tools solve. Then we'll peek under the hood to see how they actually work. After that, we'll check out the top players on the market, talk about the really important security risks, and finally wrap up with why you, the human, are still the most important part of this whole thing. All right, let's start with that big shift. We are literally moving away from a world of manual, super frustrating work and into a new era where you basically have an automated partner helping you build your narrative. But how does it actually happen? How does a single idea, just one sentence, magically transform into a full, polished presentation? Let's take a look under the hood. Okay, so it all starts with you. Simple as that. You type your topic, your idea, whatever it is, into a little box. That's your prompt. That's the instruction that kicks this entire process off and sends your request to the system's brain. And this is where the magic happens. An engine using what's called natural language processing, or NLP, takes over. Now, you can think of it like a super smart translator. It doesn't just swap words, it understands meaning and context. It knows the difference between a great white shark and a great white shark. And that understanding is what allows it to take your simple idea and build a coherent, logical slide deck from scratch. So if we break that magic down, it's actually a pretty clear step-by-step process. First, the AI analyzes your topic to figure out what you're talking about. Is this business, science, marketing? Then it applies a kind of template to guide the structure and make sure it all flows. From there, it actually writes the content, the titles, the bullet points, and finally, it formats everything into those ready-to-use slides. Okay, now that we kind of get the how, let's talk about the what. The market is just flooded with these tools right now. So how do you pick the right one? Let's break down the top players. This chart gives you a pretty good overview. For just solid, all-around performance, you might look at something like NextDocs. If what you really care about is stunning visuals, then design-focused tools like Beautiful.ai and Canva are fantastic. But maybe you just want to speed things up without learning a whole new program. In that case, the integrated tools like Plus AI and Copilot are perfect. And of course, there are specialized tools for specific jobs, like turning a document into a presentation. When you boil it all down, these tools really fall into two main camps. On one side, you've got the standalone platforms like Gamma. They're web-based, they have their own unique features. On the other side, you've got the native add-ins like Plus AI that just live right inside the software you already use every day. Which one is right for you? It really just depends on your workflow. But, and this is a really big but, like with any powerful new technology, there's a flip side. Before we get too carried away with all the cool possibilities, we absolutely have to talk about the risks. And look, we're not talking about some small niche issue here. This statistic is pretty staggering. To go from just 5% of businesses using this stuff in 2023 to over 80% by 2026, that's a massive leap. It means understanding these risks isn't optional anymore. It's essential. So what do these threats actually look like? Well, first off, an AI can confidently just make things up. They call it hallucination, and it can sound totally convincing even when it's wrong. It can also be used to create incredibly realistic phishing emails. And bad actors can even attack the AI itself, either by tricking it with clever prompts or by corrupting the data it was trained on in the first place. And this right here, this is one of the biggest risks, and it happens right inside your own company. It's the risk of accidentally leaking your own sensitive data. Every single time you copy and paste internal info, financials, product plans, customer lists, into a public AI tool, you're taking a huge risk. This idea of prompt scrutiny, of being super careful about what you feed the AI, isn't just a good idea. It's basic corporate safety now.
Okay, after all that, let's bring it back home. Let's talk about the most important part of this entire equation, which is still you. Because for all of its power, AI is still just a tool.
This is the key. This is the main takeaway. Think of an AI slide maker as an incredibly fast, super talented junior assistant. It can do the research, draft the first version, handle all the formatting, and give you something that's, 80% of the way there. But that last 20%, the final polish, the core message, the strategic vision, that has to come from you. At the end of the day, these tools don't replace your creativity. They should unleash it. They free you from all the boring stuff. The magic of a great presentation was never about having perfect fonts or alignment. It has always been about the power of your idea, your vision. So the real question is, with this new partner by your side, what story will you tell?